What's up, guys? It's Andrew, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be doing a tier list of all of Tyler, the Creator's mixtapes and albums. So let's get right into this thing. Before I start ranking the albums, I am not going to include an F tier because I don't believe that any of Tyler's work deserves to be that low, because I think he's a really talented artist who has always been really artistic, and he's just always put himself out there, and I don't think any of his projects deserve to be that low, even if I'm not the biggest fan of them. So let's get right into the ranking. So we'll start out with Bastard, and I'm putting that at a C tier, a low C tier in my opinion. And this is where we see his first album be released. I believe it came out in 2009. It has some hits off of that thing, some classics that I still go back to and listen to this day. Obviously, the album's namesake, Bastard, that title track is really good to this day, really good. You got some bangers like Ass Milk with Earl Sweatshirt and French with, I think, Haji Beats. You also have slower songs like VCR, 7. I think another one was Blow. I think I always like that song. I would definitely say this is Tyler's most raw and unfiltered album. I mean, this is when I think he was 18 years old when he put this out, so this is just raw emotion, him being as edgy as possible, and yeah, that's Bastard for you. Next, I'm going to be putting Goblin at C tier, above Bastard, slightly. It's definitely a more polished version of his first project, and I can appreciate that. He didn't really do anything too different. You can just tell he got into a much nicer studio with better equipment, production, and all of that stuff really combines with his previous strategy with Bastard, and it kind of makes it for a little bit of more of an enjoyable listen. And at this point, this is where Tyler really blows up with Yonkers. What other songs were popular off that? She with Frank Ocean. Sandwiches, which I think is with Haji Beats. I'm not a big fan of that song, but I know that was a popular one. But this one, I also think that both of these two projects, the new Tyler fans who probably came around Flower Boy or newer, definitely will probably never listen to this stuff because of how edgy and just out of pocket the lyrics are. And these are not even just out of pocket. These are just some nasty lyrics at some points. Like the song Tron Cat, Fish. It just gets pretty uncomfortable at times. But I still think it's a pretty enjoyable listen, more than Bastard, at least. And I do find myself returning to it for certain songs at time to time. But there are some tracks on this album that are just downright terrible. With the second half of the Fish song, was awful. I don't know why he included that on there. Also, the Bitch Suck Dick song, it's just not. Tyler's verse, I think, it goes pretty hard, but Taco and Jasper, terrible. Next, we're going to be putting Wolf up in A tier. Okay, this is where I first found out about Tyler, the Creator. I was back in 8th grade, I think. This is 2013, and I found him right before the album dropped. I think Domo 23 was released as a single at the time, and I just really got obsessed with his music from here. And I think that's why Wolf always has such a high ranking for me, because I have some nostalgia for it, but also he just really starts to blossom artistically here. The production is next level, with songs like IFHY with Pharrell, Tree Home 95, the intro track itself, Wolf, that it has some amazing production, and you can really tell he just took the creation of this album at a whole nother level of intensity. He still has some of the overly edgy lyrics here, but they're not as bad, and you can kind of tell he's starting to evolve with his age, which I think at this point he was probably like 22, 23 years old. I also think this is where like Tyler's outside of music ventures, such as like, I think he had a TV show at the time, his YouTube, clothing, he's really branching out, and he's blowing up in all different types of mediums. Now for Cherry Bomb. I'm going to put Cherry Bomb at B tier. I know this must be surprising for a lot of people because for many, this is their least favorite Tyler project. And while it's really messy at certain points, especially with the title track Cherry Bomb, at other points, it's just beautiful. Like with the song Smuckers with Kanye and Lil Wayne, that's one of Tyler's best songs ever, in my opinion. Also, Fucking Young, that's an amazing track. Tyler also gives us this like punk sounding guitar in the first track on the album, Death Camp, as well as it kind of comes back in the Cherry Bomb song, which I know a lot of people hate that song, but I actually really enjoy it for how messy it is. Also on this album, you can really tell that Tyler's beginning to get into different types of music, such as like jazz, soul, funk. You can really hear all the different sounds coming together on this album. Like on songs such as Pilot, Find Your Wings, Two-Seater, he's really getting experimental and kind of leaving that darker, edgier side of him behind. Now we're getting into the more modern Tyler era, and I think this is where he really breaks away from his past self, because he really sounds one way on the first 4 albums, and from Flower Boy on, he sounds like a completely different person. And I'm instantly going to put Flower Boy up in S tier. It's just really Tyler like broke out of his like lane that he was in. He was kind of pushed to the side in the rap sphere, and with Flower Boy, he really broke out of that, and people stopped judging him a certain way, and he kind of became much more mainstream than he ever was before. A whole new group of fans started enjoying him, and he just kind of blew up all over again. The features on this album are some heavy hitters. I really enjoy it. They have Frank Ocean, Rex Orange County, Estelle, Jaden Smith, whose feature I don't really care for, and I think there's also a Lil Wayne song. Oh, and how can I forget A$AP Rocky's on the album, on that Who Dat Boy song, which still goes hard to this day. My favorite song off of this one, See You Again, with Kali Uchis. Amazing track. Also, I think this is where Tyler first kind of is much more straightforward with his sexuality. And I think this is the album where he actually kind of comes out of the closet in a way. Personally, don't know like what his orientation is, but he's definitely being more of himself here than he ever has in the past. And it kind of makes you wonder, was he really like that before? Or was he just kind of putting on an act? Next album is Igor. And this is my favorite Tyler project ever. And this is an immediate top of the S tier. And it's just the perfect album, a 10 out of 10 for me. Kanye, Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti, Pharrell. I think that's it for the features on Igor. But it's just an amazingly put together project. And I couldn't ask for a better album from Tyler. Like, I know when the whole rollout for it with him in the blonde wig was coming out, I was kind of like, I don't know what this could be. Like, I don't know what to expect. And when I first heard it, I was like, dang, that's something different, but in a good way, like a really good way. And like songs like Earthquake, I think, A Boy's a Gun, Puppet, Are We Still Friends? They're just so well put together, and you can tell how talented Tyler's really gotten with real instruments, because I know he actually uses real instruments for a lot of his production, and he takes the extra time. I think that's why his albums take so long to be put out, because he really goes the extra mile to put the work in. And this is also where Tyler wins his first Grammy, and it's really awesome to see him, listening to him all the way back from 2013 to present time, where he's like this super artistically respected mainstream artist. Now for the last ranking. Now this one's gonna piss a lot of people off. Call Me When You Get Lost is my least favorite Tyler album. It just didn't hit for me. I really didn't like the DJ drama like voice the entire time. It just kind of ruined the experience for me. The only track I think I really enjoyed was the one with Domogenesis, and even the song with Lil Uzi and Pharrell wasn't my favorite. I think Pharrell really ruined it. Also, the production on this album is not my favorite. I don't like the kind of beat selection Tyler chose, and also his rapping style. I know this is probably his most well rapped album, but it just doesn't hit my ear right, like Igor and Flower Boy did. I think he also kind of changed up his voice, his inflection or his tone, and it's just not my favorite. So yeah, here's my Tyler the Creator tier list for all of his albums, and if you guys want to make your own and compare to mine, I'll provide the tier list link in the description. If you have any other future ideas for me to make videos on, just let me know in the comments, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.